I'm preparing here purple dyed colors for Amy's color challenge. You probably all know, or most of you, that Amy from Crafty Cat has a color challenge, and I think it's such a wonderful challenge, and it really prompted me to participate. She already went through many colors. Last one I remember I was really trying to also participate was black, and I started also making my black papers, but now the purple, I really want to just dive into it, just do it. I like to prepare my papers just to I just like making papers as well. It's also, it saves a bit on money not to download always what is on offer in regards to papers. But that is not to say that I don't also love it so very much, all the papers that's available on the internet, on Etsy. But it is also good to do your own. And so what I did here, I mixed a purple and I used these very ordinary food coloring dyes, a blue and a cochineal, and I mixed the two together. Obviously blue and red makes purple. Just a word with the mixing, it takes more red than blue, so be careful. And then you just mix until, start with a few little puddle, so you know the ratio how you would like then to see your purple, and then add water to it. And then I put it in a watering can, what you call it, a bottle, spray bottle, and just spray my paper. So first I did 2 envelopes. This is now the watermark from the 2 colored that are mixed. Like the water likes to separate it when it dries, not always, only when you have puddles that are drying in the middle, and they separate into the reddish and the bluish that you mix together, but it also makes a lovely purple. These envelopes, I prepared them on a piece of cardboard that I usually use to spray and color my papers, and just before this purple session, hello birds, they're sitting there at the end of the table. 3, 4, they are called the happy family, what you hear cluttering here. Anyway, I do this on a piece of cardboard, and I just did a blue project, and the cardboard was still full with paint, so when I sprayed the purple it soaked up. That's the bird above me. It soaked up the blue paint that was still on the cardboard and other bits of shades. So it gives just another little element, interesting color playful thing here. So 2 envelopes, you know, that I might put together and then make a booklet, or I don't know what yet, we shall see. Then I have 2 other envelopes I prepared. These are the window envelopes. Unfortunately, you know, I always use used envelopes, so I haven't got the flap here, it's already glued down the way it comes in the mail. And then I have to give it a stronger coat to cover the markings here, you know, the stamp and the sender's name and stuff. So again I sprayed it with my food coloring spray, bits and pieces from the cardboard, and then I gave it a coat of gesso or gesso. And after the gesso, I sprayed it again with, I got these 2 oxides from Distress Ranger from Tim Holtz, and I sprayed it with these two colors, so it's more a reddish purplish stuff and the more a bluish lilac color, and I sprayed that on, let it dryish, and then I gave it another spritz with my Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. This is just the white, and it gives this lovely shimmer on top of the colors, diffuses it a little bit. And then these are my A4 dyed papers. This is my masterpiece. I don't know how this turned out so good. It is again totally normal copying paper that you use in your printer, and I sprayed it with the purple food coloring, and then I put that plastic tablecloth on top of it to give it these, you know, as you layer them, and to give it that pattern. This is the second. I make bundles of 4. I put them on top of each other. So this one would have been the lowest. It was like this. I put it on a grid. Any kind of metal grid that you have, or some surface that has a pattern, comes up really nicely. So in this bundle, this was on the bottom. Then I had a layer of this paper, and a fourth one. See, this didn't do much difference. This type of paper just is not a very cooperative paper, but it did soak in this pattern just through. Just amazing. And it must have been laying like this, and this piece of paper got this lovely marking at the edge. So gorgeous. My second bundle is also very interesting. What happened here? This is now a phenomenon. See, I did nothing different to this and this. This was the top copying paper, same paper. I put the plastic on top. I put another plastic tablecloth type plastic thing on top. This came out like this. This came out like this. Not quite sure why. But anyway, they still make lovely shades of colors. And the interesting thing in this bundle is I had 5 in a row here. So this was my bottom paper, the lowest. And then I had put this one, and this one. 6 actually I had. No, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So the top 2 are much the same. This is again copying paper. But what's phenomenal here now is that this piece of paper is a very beautiful paper. It's a very old lined paper that you put in binders, and it's very old. I don't know when they stopped using this. I found this in the antique place, and it is this very unusual big format. I think they got this from England. It used to be a format they used in England, and they discard it now. It is called Foolscape, I believe. It's nearly as wide as an A4, but a bit longer. But the lovely thing with this old paper is that it's more paper than the nowadays papers. There's a bit of a wind going. This nowadays paper is, you know, a strange mix. I don't know what type of plasticky paper that they add something to stretch the paper, which is all right for the trees. But it's beautiful to find this old paper. They behave very different. This one was lined just as this. This is an ordinary school book type of paper that they use in schools now. And the lining of this totally disappeared. It kept the colors much stronger. And this side was on top of it. And this one soaked up the lines from this piece And also here on the back you can see the lines just still a little bit, but also this piece picked it up. So that's a little bonus that I had here with dyeing. These are much the same, you know, a bit stronger, different grids. These are my A4 type of papers. Then I made a big one. This is drawing paper. Again, I put it on a grid. And I double dyed this actually. When it was dry, I sprayed it all over again and put it on a different grid. It's also interesting. I dyed here a bit of music sheet. This side is so beautiful. It just had this unusual, it's a little bit embossed, this to write your music notes. This is the front of it, just a bit of purple on it. And I put again the plastic tablecloth on it. And here is a second spraying again, but with something else. I'll get to that. Here is another one, just spraying with the plastic markings on it. But then I turned it over, and again I used these two sprays, covered it, and when it was, I think still wet, I do it when it's still wet, I put the glimmer mist to give it this lovely sheen. More interesting paper. Here, this is just a very lovely paper. Also, it was a paper bag, and with the plastic cover on it, just sprayed it. And the plastic came out really nice and can be used for something bigger, maybe a book cover, a journal cover. This was also a very interesting piece of paper. It was the cover of the drawing pad that I finished. And this side is glossy, and this side is again a different type of paper. And it handled the color, the food coloring spray, very differently. But beautiful shades of colors came through. And then again I sprayed it with these and the glimmer mist. So I got this very interesting thing also for a cover or something. Then I dyed some laces and threads. These are yarns that I worked with lately. Different yarns, taking the color totally differently. Laces, cotton, artificial fabric, doesn't take the color very good, but still a lovely sheen of purple. I got two purplish washi tapes to use. This is another piece of cotton that already had a pattern on it. Doily cut out. So this will be part for my, this is a lovely cotton, took it again so differently to do my projects. And here I did some computer work. I prepared again some papers myself, and these are gonna be like, I'm gonna cut them in half, and I intend to make a little booklet that they are the 2 pages. This is just a background to put you know, decoration on it, focal points or something, pockets. And these are different designs I made for different, this is where you can journal, and this is just in between for the color accents. Here I accidentally double printed it. Makes lovely color difference. here I didn't quite there was a gap, but it still can be used. So what I will do is I will cut them all here like this, and then that can be kind of, you know, the pages. You can journal here. These ones you can either put pocket on it or just leave it as accents, as interesting pages. And here I went to the, this is how I already cut one of these pages. I cut it apart, so it looked like this. This was the top, this was the bottom. So I cut it in half, folded this one also, and then, you know, here you put in the pages, whatever pages you want to put, you know, different types of papers. So you go through the booklet then like this. And this also, it got so interesting, fine little details. I sometimes don't know how I made it, but it's always good. Some then I scan in and use them as prints. Two lovely moths. These are some focal points, like, you know, you can put it on the paper, something like this. Made various. These are just computer images that I cut out, other kind of these little greeting cards. This lady from the sewing pattern, I thought Amy had, I don't know what color it was, maybe the orange one. She used one of these ladies, and oh, it turned out so good. And so just, you know, various out from the internet. This, the lady, she wasn't purple, so I colored her evening dress purple. Looks very pretty. These again are these cutouts. But I put it on purple, I don't like it very much, so I thought, no, they need different backgrounds. So I collaged here a few images, purple images with a more gold ochre type of background. And these can be used like pockets, and the square ones, the length, portrait size. Oh, this is landscape size, as pockets, and the portrait size is more as journaling cards to go in. So these are all images to use. And then here I already started one, much like Amy had done one, because I liked the outcome so much. Again, we started with this envelope. Amy started with the envelope, and then that's gonna be kind of on the front, also one of my collages. And then, I don't know, maybe with some lace on the side, or I thought even put it around as closure. Don't know yet, it's still in just, I made this to get the project flowing. And then Amy had a botanical card, but I haven't got those lovely, I forgot the name of the lady, everybody is using her images, and I just haven't got one of her images, her book. So this is just an ordinary botanical out of a book, and here I glued a purple tissue paper over it, and then I with the white glue and went over it as well, so it gives it a lovely texture. But I might use this for something else, not sure yet. So then came my doily. Again, you see the lovely watermarks and the grid. And then I found this purple cardstock that will have, you know, this will be lovely with the images on it, pockets, or maybe this here can be like this, the pocket, and then stuff it with journaling cards or tags I can make. We shall see. So this was just to start with. So see how much time I have. I want to continue finishing these projects also. But first I just wanted to introduce you to the paper that I made. The dyeing, it's also part of the Purple Challenge. So I shall continue now with finishing some projects as far as I get. Just before I keep going with my projects, I wanted to tell you something else about dyeing with food color and with another type of color that I experimented with when I first started my journaling hobby. That's now nearly a year ago. It was August last year. I just went over to Europe for a 3.5 month journey, and I traveled from country to country visiting my relatives, close relatives, my friends. So I went to various countries, and a month before I left, I came across the junk journaling on the internet, the YouTubes, and I just took to it like a wildfire, and I had to start travel with a portable studio I organized, you know, with pencils and glue and scissors and you know, what I could take with me. And then there in Europe I started collecting papers, making my own paper. As I said, you know, I like making papers too, although I also adore the papers that I can download, and I love to mix them. But my experience then there, what I would like to share with you, is I was just spending some time at my brother's holiday apartment that we have, and I found also the food dyes, exactly the same type of food dyes, probably from his daughters, in the kitchen, and I mixed that. That's very much like what you can see here. These are stamps with not waterproof stamps, so when you put water in connection with this spray, it blurs, so it soaks up and makes just wonderful blurred images. And I experimented on all types of different paper because I didn't have the paper collection, and my whole family and friends all collected papers and paper bags for me. And so I experimented here, and this is a lovely piece. I want to use this also for my purple. I must put this aside. I bought my first little acrylic paint for my portable studio. It was purple. I'm a bit of a purple fan. And these are various papers I made. But the one that I specifically would like to talk to you about are these ones here. And these were, once upon a time, purple. I used tea bags. It was a herbal tea that my nieces had in the apartment, and it was a berry tea. Berries of the forest it was called, and I made a very thick dye, like, you know, 5 or 6 tea bags with 1 liter of water. I boiled it up to get really all the colors out, and it was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But now that I was looking for this purple color challenge, I thought, these purple papers that are left over will be just perfect. But to my biggest surprise, they don't hold the color. They got this grayish, brownish, nothingish color. So what I would like to point out, I remember very long time ago back in Switzerland I did a course on natural dyeing, and our teacher, one of the first things she told us about the food dyeing, the natural color dyeing with, you know, leaves and berries and God knows what, is to let us know that beetroot is not a good dye. You would not think it because it gives such a lovely strong color when you boil out beetroot or the juice of it, but with dyeing it loses its color. It also becomes this type of colors after a while. It loses its color. And the dyeing course I did, we dyed wool and silk and other yarns, but we always had to include, first the wool had to be prepared with some chemical, like with alun or something it was, and then dye it with the natural color, and then again a chemical bath to fasten it. But then that color stays forever. It doesn't fade even in the sun. But these colors were just in this envelope, and I take them out and they lost their color. So be aware when you experiment with these colors. I must say, the food colors. I had some with food color. I think these were with also the food color that I mixed. They seem to hold their color, but the herbal teas and the beetroots, I don't know what. You try it out. This was some Franken paper that I had made, and this is another type of a collage. I painted, I tried eco painting, eco dyeing, and that didn't work out very good, and the paper totally fell apart, so I collaged it. But I might use this as the cover for one of my little booklets that I want to make with purple sheets inside. And this again is these blurred images where I had stamped with this non-waterproof dye, but I think they might exactly make lovely paper in these little booklets that I'm endeavoring. Okay, so I go to my projects now. Bye for now.